Welcome to our weekly Forex Forecast, and this is for trading for the week of February 4th to the 8th, 2019, not 2018. Before we get started, though, just a quick disclaimer here. Actually, just a quick disclaimer. This is for educational purposes only. Trading is a risky business, so please be careful with your money. All right, so let's just dive in here. Oh, no, we don't do that first. We're going to do our calendar. All right, this is going to be a fun one today. Okay, so for this week, coming up, we have Monday retail sales numbers for Australia here, RBA statement. So we have central bank statement. We saw that the CPI numbers for Australia came in positive. So that's one of the indicators that the central banks look at. So if the inflation numbers are positive, it just gives, we saw that Australian dollar had gone up after that. It just gives the market participants the hope that the central bank will raise rates. So we'll see what the RBA has to say here. We saw Fed not really raising, or they've kind of taken a step back from raising rates right now. They're not as bullish as they were last year. We saw our ECB take sort of a similar stance. Bank of Canada is doing the same thing here. So at this point, RBA may say something similar. So if they're not very bullish, we could see Australian dollar drop as a result. But if they say positive things about the economy, about the outlook of the economy, that will be positive. So one thing to keep in mind here is Australia is a big trade partner with China. So Chinese economy will have an impact on Australia. So if China is not able to sell to the U.S., and then Australia will have problems selling to China. So there's that relationship there that I think RBA will have to kind of keep in view. So let's see what RBA has to say. But if they're bullish, then we could see Australian dollar go up. But if they sort of take a similar stance as other central banks and take a step back from raising rates and keep everything the same and express concerns about the world economy, that will be negative for Australian dollar. Other than that, not a whole lot of stuff coming out here. We have investor confidence numbers for Euro. On Tuesday here, we do have a whole bunch of PMI numbers, services PMI numbers out of the Eurozone. These numbers are important, even though they are marked as yellow, because they are leading indicators. And we have non-manufacturing PMI numbers out of the US here. Again, that will be important. And following that, we have RBA Governor Lau speaking here. So as we can see here, after the rate statement here, there's no speech right away. It's one day after that. So usually what we see is there will be an impact on Australian dollar when the Reserve Bank of Australia Governor Lau speaks here. So keep that in mind. On Wednesday here, not a whole lot here coming out. We do have employment data for New Zealand here, and Fed Chair Powell is speaking. Now, if he changes his sort of stance on interest rates and that type of stuff, that could have an impact on the US dollar. So do keep that in mind there. On Thursday here, we have, now Thursday, very important here, another central bank. We have Bank of England. We are looking for monetary policy here. Interest rate not expected to be changed at this point. Again, the important thing will be what the Bank of England has to say about future state of the economy here. Now with Brexit, there's got to be concerns around that. But again, anything that is said here will be very, very important. And then basically on Friday, we just have, again, there's RBA monetary policy statement, but because that has already happened, this one may not have as much impact. On Friday, we have Canadian employment numbers. So that's it for data for this week. So let's jump into our charts here. So let's start off with taking a look at Euro here. So as we can see, Euro is still trading in that range here. we have seen it go up. So last week we were looking for a move up based on this bullish pin bar. We saw it go up, went into resistance here, and couldn't really go higher than that. So now we have a pin on the top here, but there's still bullishness in this candle. So as a result of that, what I would watch out for next week would be a bullish move here, one to retest the high, and if price drops, then I'm looking for price to come back into the range, or it could go to test the high here and then come back. But it looks like price is faltering here, so we could see a drop, but be mindful of this push to the upside before we see that drop. So right now it is bullish, but I would be looking for this move to be range bound here unless something changes drastically. I'm looking for the move to be range bound. Basically what that means is looking for price to go up and then turn around. So that's our euro dollar. Pound dollar here, we see that price went up and now it has pulled back. This one is interesting because the pullback is not very strong. It's just a little bit. And what that could mean is that we could see a further move to the upside. So that's something we have to watch out for. There are two different scenarios that could happen here. One, this could just be a pullback. So we see a move to the upside, pullback, and then a further move up. Or we could just see price turn around from here. At this point, this one is driven by Brexit. Everything that comes out around Brexit will move this pair. So that's what we're looking at. For now, I would say this is a pullback. We could have a deeper pullback here into 1.2980, but there is a chance that this could go higher. So watch out for that. So right now, my base case scenario would be price goes up, pulls back, and then if it does not break below this 1.2980 level, I will be looking for a further move to the upside. So that's our pound. So in this case, I'm looking for a pullback into 1.2980. If it holds above, looking for it to go test the high at 1.3220 and then potentially go higher. So that's pound dollar. Aussie dollar here, this one, we saw a move to the upside. Last week, we had a bullish pin bar on this one as well. And now we saw this move to the upside here. Hasn't quite reached that, that resistance level here. So looks like we're seeing a pullback here. So there's a pin, so which means price could drop a little bit further before it continues higher. So this is the type of move I am looking for. So this is still bullish here, but I think we could see this one pull back further into potentially into 0.7200 if it holds above this one. Now we do have the RBA statement coming up, which could completely change things and change the direction of this, because if they are dovish, like Fed is the stance that Fed is taking right now, this could drop Australian dollar. But for now, bias is to the upside because our weekly candle close is bullish. So I'm looking for a pullback into 0.7200. And if it holds above, then I'm looking for a further move into the high at 73.00 or even higher into 0.7400. Now, the second scenario is if things are bearish, then it could come all the way into 0.7100 based on RBA statement. But for now, looking for a slight pullback and a further move to the upside. New Zealand dollar here, this one was bullish. We were looking for a further move up last week. We saw that move to the upside. It has gone into 0.6940 level, and now we are seeing a drop from there. So there is bullishness in this candle. It's still bullish. So I would look for maybe a further pullback here into the high of these candles here, 0.6850. If it holds above, just like Australian dollar there, we could see a further move to the upside, and then we are coming into strong resistance, which means we could see this type of a move. So that's the scenario. I'm looking for a bit of a further drop here, looking for a hold above 0.6850, and then a move to the upside. Now, if it doesn't hold above 0.6850, then I would look for a move back into the low of those candles, because then it becomes range bound again. So I would look for price to drop here. But this high here, this support resistance level is very, very important at 0.6850. So that's New Zealand dollar. Dollar CAD here, we saw a drop, a big drop here in dollar CAD. Last week, we had a pin bar here, bearish pin bar. We saw follow through from that. Now looking for a further drop. So we have a strong candle close here, biases to the downside. Now with this one as well, if we start to see other commodity crosses pulling back and oil starts to drop, we could see something like this. So look for a pullback and then a further move to the downside. So that's the scenario. I'm looking at 0.2960 level will be the target here. So bias is to the downside for dollar CAD. Euro pound here. Euro pound has been interesting. We have seen move in both directions here. It came into support right there, and now we have a bullish move to the upside. Now, the way this one is sitting right now, it is bullish, but it's not bullish engulfing yet. See how this one was bullish engulfing? It engulfed this previous candle. This one is not, which means it could still turn around and it could just be a pullback. So that's where we have to wait and see what the market gives us. But if we just look at the support here, it's bouncing off of that support, which means it could go further. So the test will be, can it hold above this 0.8760 level, or actually I should say 80 level here? If it holds above this level, then it could go all the way up, because this is in a range as well. Look at this range. It's been trading in this range since 2017. It's just been shuffling back and forth. So we could see price go up even higher. But the test here would be the high, 0.8780 level, or let's say 8,800 level. So looks like I lost connection, but we are still on. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you,
ma'am. Okay, perfect. Yeah, excellent. Thank you. Okay, thank you. All right, so it looks like I had lost my internet connection and I am back on now. It's just something weird going on with my connection today. Okay, my apologies. Let's get back here. All right, so euro pound is what we were talking about. So basically we are into the bottom of the range. If it holds above, if it goes above 0.8800, I'm looking for a move back towards the high of the range. So that's euro pound. Euro Swiss franc here, we are looking quite bullish. So nice bullish candle close here. So I would look for price to go higher here. The next target would be 1.1500. So bullish bias here for our euro Swiss franc. Pound Swiss franc here, this one has been all over the place. Again, looks just like our euro dollar looked. So I would say with this one, looks more like a pullback than a reversal here. We still have bullishness in this candle. So I would look for price to maybe do one of these. Pull back into 1.2920 level potentially, and then looking for that move to the upside. Okay, so this is bullish here, pound Swiss franc. Dollar Swiss franc here, this one looks more range bound. It's been trading in that range, went to the high there, and then it has dropped from there. So I would say this is bearish here. We could see price drop further. Now there is some bullishness in this candle here, which means it can go and do a retest of that level once again. Just watch out for that. Other than that, we have Okay, so this is type of the move that I'm looking for. We could see a retest of the high, then I would look for a drop. And the target here would be 0.9850 level. Pound yen, this one has been interesting. Again, looks just like our other two. So this one I would consider a pullback here as well. And now I would look for price to pull back a bit. So bias is still to the upside. So we have this move to the upside. I would look for a pullback and then potentially a further move to the upside. So looking for a pullback into 140.80 level potentially, or and maybe a little bit closer to target right over here, which is 141.80. So somewhere around there. I think there's room for it to pull back further. But if it holds where it is, we could see it go to test the high and then potentially higher. So this one is still looking bullish. Euro yen. This one actually has moved higher now. So last few weeks, it's been giving these candles. So this is starting to look bullish now. Before it was in this range, but now it's breaking out of the range. So the bias is bullish here, looking for price to move up higher. 126.50 is the first target, and then looking for price to go into 127.20. So bullish bias here for euro yen. Dollar yen here is also looking bullish. We see that price dropped here and then could not go further. So now we're looking for price to move higher. First thing will be this resistance at 109.98, so 110 level. If it goes through that, looking for it to go higher into 111.50 and then potentially all the way up. So this one is bullish as well. Aussie is also looking bullish here. Aussie yen, we have a bullish candle close. So I will look for a further move to the upside here. 80.80 will be the next target. This is nice support and resistance here. So bullish bias here for Aussie yen as well. Same thing here for New Zealand yen as well. We have a nice bullish close. Last week we were looking for a move higher. We got that. Still looking for a move higher. We are into resistance here, so watch out for a pullback into 75.20 potentially or 7,500, and then a further move to the upside. So bias is bullish here. So we could get something like this, and target will be 76.20 level. So New Zealand yen, bullish bias. Okay, so next one is, let's take a look at some commodities here. Gold. Gold went into our resistance all the way at the top here. This was resistance from April, May of 2018. And now we are seeing that a pullback from there. But from our weekly perspective, this is still looking bullish here. And so what I would look for here would be still, the bias is still bullish here. Now, we'll have to see how this one plays out. So bullish candle close. So we could see, actually, from where it is currently, we could see a pullback and then a further move to the upside. So bias is bullish, but watch out for that pullback into this support and resistance area here, 1309.50 level, and then a further move to the upside. First target will be just the high of this candle at 1325. Then we are looking at about 1343, 1350 level. So bullish bias for gold here. Oil is actually going higher here as well. So we have a nice bullish candle close there. Next target is 57.75 there. So bullish bias. This is a nice bullish candle close. Last week we were looking for a bit of a pullback. We got that. And now we are moving higher. Copper here is looking bullish as well. We had a bullish pin bar last week, bit of a pullback, and then further move up. So now looking for price to continue higher, and target would be 2.85. So copper is also bullish. Let's move on to silver, and then we'll take a look at Bitcoin and indices here. Silver. Silver is pulling back a bit into resistance. Okay, so this is our silver. So this one's bullish, but it's looking a little indecisive here. So we have a pin on the top here, which means we could see a drop here. So I would say potentially a drop either into the bottom of this candle or slightly lower here, and then a further move to the upside if it holds. So this one is looking a little more indecisive than our gold. Gold is looking more bullish here. So we are coming into support. So I will look for a pullback into that support level there. And if it holds above, looking for a further move to the upside, first will be to test the high there, and then looking for it to go a little higher right into that level. So that's our silver. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is, I'm going to use the daily chart here. Bitcoin is just holding this level. So last time we were looking for a drop because there was this triangle that was being formed at the bottom here. So we saw that drop, and now this looks like a pullback for a further drop to the downside here. So what happened here was this was the move from last week. We had this triangle that was pushing it price to the downside. So we saw that drop, and now we have this one here, which generally means another move to the downside here. Now, the only thing is if it does close higher, then it could go back into this support and resistance level. But for now, bias is bearish because it's holding below that support level where price sat for so long. And now that support is acting as resistance. So I would look for price to potentially drop. And but if it closes on the other side, then it could go all the way up here as well. So this is the decision point here. But the longer it holds below this 34.90 mark, the chances are it's going to drop. So that's Bitcoin. Now let's take a look at S&P 500 here. This one is looking bullish. We'll go to the weekly here, looking bullish. So next move is to the upside here, 27.50, and then potentially all the way up there. So bullish bias for S&P 500. Nikkei here, not as good. It's still trading in that range here for the last 3 weeks, but we do have a bullish candle. So we need to see a break higher here. Then I will look for a move higher. This is bullish as well. So 21566 is the target. So bullish bias for Nikkei as well. NASDAQ is also looking bullish right now. We have a bullish candle close. We can look for a bit of a pullback here, like that, and then a further move to the upside. So this is also bullish. Dow here, trading in a range for now for the last 2 weeks. So we have an indecision candle here. Now we have to kind of wait and see how this plays out. And let's take a look at the daily chart. It's just trading in that range. So we just need to wait and see on this one, not giving us a clear indication of where this may go. Very, very small candle close there. We could see something like this. This is what I would look for because it's still range bound here. And last one, FTSE looking bullish here as well. So nice bullish engulfing candle close here. Next target, we're looking for it to go higher. 71.70 level will be the next target. So bullish bias here for FTSE as well. All right, any questions before we wrap this up? Okay, I'm not seeing any questions, so we will call it a wrap. So just a heads up, we're going to be starting our Turning Pro Bootcamp, our Turning Pro Challenge very soon. So keep an eye out for that. I'll be sending out some emails in regards to that. So keep an eye on that if you're interested. Other than that, that's it for today. You guys have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you for next weekend. Bye for now.